Well, we'll get started with, if you don't mind, Craig, and we'll talk about your time at East End Park.
Well, my time at East End Park was a very happy one, extremely.
How did the move come about? Because you were at Hibs, and Jimmy Calderwood obviously signed you. So, what was the deal that you actually came to Dunfermline? How did you come here?
Well, I was at the Hibs. Came back from Greece. Alex McLeish signed me on a 1-year contract, and people thought, "Oh, here we go, a 34-year-old we're signing," and I did okay at Hibs. I was out for 3 months with a shoulder injury, a shoulder operation, which was a pity because I missed a lot of Frank Sauze's time. And then towards the end of the season, I made a real good partnership with Gary O'Connor. And things, you know, as a player, when things are going well, you're playing well. And I thought, okay, I've got a good chance of getting a new contract. So at that time, the end of that season, Sky pulled out of Scottish football. So Rod Petrie was the one that said, okay, we're putting everything on hold. Nobody's getting signed until we know what's happening with the league. And there was talk of a group trying to buy it out, and eventually it came to Setanta. But so when I'd spoke to Rod at the end of the season, and him saying that you're not going to get signed until we know what's happening, I was in limbo. So I got a phone call from Jimmy Calderwood, and would I meet him? Met him at the Forth Road Bridge, the hotel just there. And because Jimmy Nick had signed me for Wraith way back, he obviously spoke well of myself, and I got on great with Jimmy Calderwood. And yeah, so at 35, Dunfermline offered me a 2-year contract, and I was absolutely delighted that they'd put the trust in me to give that 2 years to. So I arrived, and Stevie Crawford was a young boy at Wraith Rovers. Never really played with me until I left to go back to Dundee United. He then became a partner for Gordon DL. But Stevie and I just, on the training ground, it was just telepathic, our understanding for each other. And the first season at the club really was unbelievable.
Yeah, the two of you just seem to click, and it's somehow, not that I'm a football player, but you can just see that sometimes footballers just seem to click together, and the partnership is just wonderful.
Yeah, I think the understanding, the strengths of his strength complemented me, and vice versa. So but as well, the rest of the boys in the team, it was a real good, with a good balance to the team. Great characters, good individuals. It was really a real good team.
Because you signed roughly the same time as was it Scott Walker and Gary Dempsey and
Scott Wilson, Big Wilson, Scott Wilson. Yeah. So there was the two Jimmies had done really well. They'd formed a great partnership, and the camaraderie they had, and the togetherness that everybody had. All the players really wanted to play for them, big time. And I think that showed. Yeah.
And as you say, we had a lot. The squad then was really quite good because you had Barry Nick, and we had that wonderful Yusuf Rossi.
Well, we had a lot of good, Nipper at the back. Well, Nipper, that first season with me, he kept getting injured. He kept getting injured the second season, but the first season with me, him at the back, Scott Wilson, Skerla, Bully, Bully was a Mr. Adaptable. He'd just play anywhere. And midfield, yeah, Barry Nick was a real tremendous player. You know, Gary Mason was the unsung hero in the middle of the park who ran here, there, and everywhere. And a lot of the time, Craw and I got the plaudits. But you know, the players at that time, you know, we really complimented each other.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to think who else. One of the big games we won it against Hibs at Easter Road. We won 4-1, and we'd never won at Easter Road for God knows how long. It was years since we had won Easter Road. So that was one of the good games. Was there any other game that sort of stands out for you?
Well, there was a lot of games that stood out for me. Rangers at home, and it was, you know, there was a few games where, you know, the fans played a big part in it, and you know, towards the end of games we were really strong, and it summed up we're getting to Europe that year, you know, and that was a big thing for Dunfermline.
Yeah. What was it that Jimmy Nick and Jimmy Calderwood had then? Was it their organisation or what?
Well, they're two characters, experienced, and knew their stuff. They had a team that they obviously inherited a lot of boys, but they also brought in one or two like myself and a few others, and that complemented the team. But you know, they demanded things from every individual in training. You know, you had to be at it. He was always screaming in my ear, Brewster, Brewster. I always had rubber ears when JC was manager. But you know, they you know, that drove everybody on, and as a group of players, we had some good individuals that were experienced players, knew their stuff, and you know, we drove each other on as well, and that helped the two Jimmies, and they seen that the competitiveness in training, games on a Friday, all these little details that they had, and they had guys that at the end of the day could score goals. Myself and Crawford, and having goals in your team, you know, from everywhere helps a team, because it doesn't matter how good or how bad you play. If you've got goals in your team, that's what wins games, and we won a few. Yeah,
because that season, you know, your first season, we got to the quarter final of the Scottish Cup and had a replay against Rangers, but obviously lost that. But then we finished 5th in the league that season, partly due to the amount of goals that you and Cross scored.
Well, that, as I said, the partnership was great in the goals. You know, Stevie Craw got Scotland caps from that season. Got a move from that season. So a lot of things clicked that year, and you know, clubs go through periods, and it was definitely a real successful period for Dunfermline at that time, and I think fans have got to enjoy those occasions, because you don't always get it where it's rosy all the time.
No,
as we all know.
Yes, definitely. That season, I think that was the season that we also got accused of lying down to Rangers. By Rangers at that game, and I think
that was a strange experience, Christine. Last game of the season, where Celtic and Rangers were going for the title, and it wasn't until the last 20 minutes where Rangers took control. But it was every emotion going was in that game. I stood up the pitch after 2 minutes, and Rangers just went. It was like the Alamo, and I stood up the pitch thinking, this could be a long afternoon. I think they scored early, but then we weathered the storm, and then Jason Dare scored a great goal. And second half, well, they scored again, Rangers, and then Stefan Close had a great save from me second half. And that second half, at one time, the Ibrox went silent. And it was, the players were kind of looking at each other as if to say, what's happening here? And then they managed, I think it was a penalty, or they managed to get another goal. And then after that, the floodgates opened. But for about an hour that day, we were really good.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that we actually played really well that day at Ibrox. And it was one of our better performances at Ibrox.
Well, I think Chris Sutton, that statement he made, for me, summed the man up. And, lack of respect for other players and other clubs, But we certainly gave it a go. You look at Rangers' team that day.
Yeah.
Full of quality players. And but Celtic had a chance through the whole season, but it came down to that final game and goal difference.
Yeah, that's right. For the fans, I suppose, watching it would be a good experience for the neutral to see which one was going to win.
Absolutely. But I don't think I've played in a game, Christine, where all these emotions from fans have packed Ibrox, going from singing to blown off the rafters to absolute silence, and we silenced them just the once, I'm afraid.
Yeah. The following season was a good season as well, because we ended up in a cup final that season.
That's every fan's joy, isn't it? I think I'll always remember the bus driving up to Hampden, and then the bus dips down to go under the stadium. The amount of Pars fans that day that were there waiting on the bus, seeing the boys before they went in, was incredible. I think that really gave everybody, wow, this is it. This is real.
It was the first time we'd been at Hampden at cup final for years, so it was such a great experience for everybody that was there. I mean, people coming from all over just to go to the cup final. It was really, really good.
And we're up against the Celtic team that, again, full of internationalists, full of top players. Henrik's last game.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, well, okay, it'll be Henrik's day, and afraid it was. But again, for an hour, we did well.
Yeah, definitely. You didn't play in the cup final, but you had played in the semi-final against Dunfermline.
No, I played in the cup final, Christine. Andre Skerla. No problem. Andre Skerla scored 1-0 at half time.
Right.
And then we get a corner second half. And I've jumped up with Bobo Balde. And I'm thinking, by the way, I'm heading this. And by all accounts, he punched it. We never got the penalty.
No.
Celtic went up the park and scored.
That's right.
But because it was Dunfermline, we never got anything. And Larsson scores 2 goals that day to win. But it could have been a big change if we'd had a penalty. Yeah,
you would have had 2 winners' medals then.
Well, yeah, because that was 2004. That cup final. And obviously the Dundee United Rangers cup final was 10 years previous, the 94 cup final. So it would have been nice, but wasn't to be.
I know. It's such a shame. Didn't you were injured 1 or 2 times during that season as well, or
No. I got a tidy up cartilage operation at the start of the following season. The start of that season, I missed a few games because I came back in Iceland in the UEFA game. With cartilage, and then I kept getting cuts in my head. I kept having to go off every other week with stitches in my head.
Yeah.
So one or two games I missed, but always desperate to return.
Experience like going to Iceland for the.
Icelandic football isn't talked about that much, but they always seem to do well. And a couple of years ago, for the size of the nation, how good were they? The team that beat England, but it's not a nation where it's really talked a lot about in Scotland. But they're a fit race. They're competitive, and we went there thinking, okay, maybe we'll win out there and win at home, and it turned out that it was tough out there. I remember, I think I came on at half time. That was my first game back after my knee operation, having been out for about 6 weeks. So I think we won that game, and then that travesty at the end at McDermott Park in the return leg.
Yeah.
Having been winning at 90 minutes, and then at the final whistle, we're out of the UEFA Cup. That was unbelievable.
It was, and the reason we were at McDermott was because of our artificial pitch at East End. So, what did you think of the pitch?
Christine, I actually quite liked it because I knew centre backs didn't like it, but I quite enjoyed it. I was comfortable on the surface. I knew it wasn't great. I'd still prefer grass, but I didn't have a problem with it. But overall, it wasn't the best. Put it that way. But it was handy for us because we could train on it every day and play our matches on it. But it got a lot of negative press. Put it that way.
It did get a lot of negative press, and as you say, a lot of defenders didn't like playing on it because they couldn't do well every time. I remember Shieldsy talking about getting a right burn on it for going into a tackle, and he didn't like it.
That's right, because his touch was never the best, Christine. He'll be on the phone after he hears this.
I know.
What about that touch?
Have you been in touch with them?
Oh, I keep in touch with Greg. Yeah. Greg's tremendous. I used to speak to him occasionally in the States, and he was obviously out there for a good few years. And, delighted to see him teaming back up with Craw and Dan Dare. Great. So the three of them, I'm sure the three of them will work brilliantly together, you know?
Yeah. They appear to be working well together. So the results at the moment are doing quite well.
Absolutely great. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's good. But on season 04-05, after we'd obviously been in, we obviously lost Jimmy Calderwood and Jimmy Nicholl as well.
Yep.
They went off to pastures new up at Aberdeen. Yep. And we got David Hay in then. But things then didn't seem quite right that season. And things didn't click as well as they had done before.
Christine, when a management team are in place for a few years, and then they leave and somebody new comes in, it always takes time for people to adapt. But for me, when clubs have someone in place that's successful, I don't think they do enough homework to think, okay, that type of character is what we're looking for. So you go from Jimmy Calderwood and Jimmy Nick to Davy Hay. Davy Hay was an absolute lovely man. Calm. Whereas Jimmy Calderwood is, ranting and raving and driving you on and come on. So you're going from one extreme to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes players suddenly maybe like one way management and then maybe switch off another one's management. You just can't say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get injuries at certain times. You know, I think Craw left as well, didn't he?
Crawley.
Craw left, so that was you take a big part of a team's goals away,
Mm-hmm.
and then it struggled because I think it was Noel Hunt. It came in to join me, wasn't it?
Yeah, Noel Hunt came in, and he was a different character altogether.
Oh, well, I bought Noel Hunt when I was Dundee United manager from Dunfermline, and yeah, but just a daft character, absolutely infectious.
Yeah.
He certainly was larger than life as a young boy.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes things just don't have a smooth pathway, and you go from the highs to suddenly losing a couple of games, and then maybe people look round their shoulder and say, "Oh, blame this one, blame that," and that's what happens in football.
Yeah.
Trying to get that smooth transition is difficult, Christine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you left as well. You went off to
I went off to be manager at Inverness. Yes, that was in the I think it was in November, October, November time.
What you always wanted to do.
Well, when I came to Dunfermline, I started doing my badges. So I did my youth license badge first, and then my UFAB. So then you suddenly start, right, what do we do after football? And when you're doing well, that's when to strike, and the Inverness obviously saw something in me that they liked, and offered me the job. And I was 37, so you know, a lot of players have retired at 37. Never mind keep playing, and it just felt right. And went up there, and I brought a guy, Malcolm Thompson, in to assist me, and we did absolutely wonderful. But my just under 2.5 years at Dunfermline were really good, and yeah, great memories, Christine.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought of your time at Dunfermline.
Yeah, great memories. And I worked way back. I worked as a rep for a company called Wimpy Waste, and I was the salesman, and a guy from Dunfermline came to be the manager, my boss, Ian Little. Well, Ian lives 200 yards from the stadium, big Pars fan. So over the years, he's obviously supported Dunfermline, and then suddenly I'm signing for Dunfermline, and we've been great friends since way back. So it just shows you. And his little boy, Connor Little, who is a coach at the club as well as a teacher, a PE teacher. Well, Connor was a young kid when he first came to see me way back at Wraith Rovers, because they came to see me, and as a little boy, and then obviously grown up as Dunfermline fans, and then when I signed for Dunfermline, I don't know what age Connor was then, but him and Ian were absolutely delighted to that I'd come, and so we've been good friends for many years.
That's good. What are you up to these days, Craig?
Well, I am the local club here, Horsham Football Club. I'm head of youth at the club, and also I've started up my own little venture called CB Pro Coaching, which I've got kids from 8 up to 13, and it's quite. I'm loving it. I've got an amazing amount of kids for the short period of being involved in, and I've got over 100 kids, and it's absolutely brilliant. But we've had to close for lockdown. So this Friday will be the first time in a month that I'll have seen them again. So looking forward to seeing them, seeing if they've been practicing.
All right, okay. So are you still as fit as you were when you were with us?
Well, I still do a wee bit. I'm doing over the period the last month we've been in lockdown down here.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I've done is one-to-one coaching. So that's kept me busy. But I'm not doing too much because that keeps me really busy, and being out nearly every night coaching is tough as well. So
Yeah.
but all in all, I'm still looking after myself, definitely.
Good.
Occasionally playing vets games as well. So still kicking a ball or trying to.
I think Nipper was doing that as well.
Well, I think I'll put a big question mark over there. I would love to see how much running about Nipper would be doing, Christine. I think maybe Nipper would be standing on the sidelines shouting at everybody.
Oh, wait, we're talking about Nipper. Who were the characters in the dressing room when you were at East End then?
Oh, Nipper was a big character, yeah. You always heard Nipper. Yeah. Scott Wilson.
Uh-huh.
Marcel and Bully were silent assassins. Shieldsy then came in, and Shieldsy was tremendous as well. Gus McPherson. Gus was, when I first came, Gus was there for a short period.
Uh-huh.
Gus was quite a boy, always grumpy as ever, never changed.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Nipper was the manager's boy. Nipper got all the favoritism going. He never got shouted at by the manager. So we always got into Nipper being the manager's boy.
Oh, well, Craig, it's been lovely speaking to you, and maybe the next time you're up in Scotland, you'll pay us a visit again.
Well, I would love to. I'd love to. Yeah, bring back great memories again.
Yeah. Well, good luck for the rest of the season and whatever it is you do. So, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
Pleasure, Christine. Take care. Say hi to everybody. All the best.
Will do. Bye.
Bye.